Good evening, race fans. How are we doing tonight? Sunday night. Of course, that only means one thing here at GRDC is our Luke Addison Racing Sunday Series 3. This is round 7 and this is Silverstone. We are at the home of British motorsport and it's looking a little drab. Bit overcast, but I don't think it's going to rain. Well, in fact, I know it's not going to rain. Let's not hold anybody in hope or fear. It's definitely not going to rain. So let's check in with the standings. If I can find the right bit. Let's first have a look at the pro standings. It is, of course, getting to that part of the season where lots of people are dropping out now, not when they've not got anything really to fight for, no championship promises. So as we look at the current standings of pro, we got Richie Gasson leading the way on 170 points. Dan Moffat behind him in second place on 154. Stevie Morgan is currently third on 144. Paul Sims fourth on 122. And James Payton in fifth on 105 points. Hola Gaza, how are we, mate? Right, let's check in on the Pro-Am standings. So leading the way at the moment is Chrissy Wilson, 142 points. Aero Visuri, our smooth talking Finn, is currently second on 138. Right behind him on 137 is Graham Hefford. Don't think Graham's racing tonight though. John Bunny Mitchell currently fourth on 133. Paul Garnham will be fifth. Jules will be removed from the championship because she's left, so we'll take her points out of there, and Paul will move up to fifth, so he's on 114 points. Let's have a look at how the AM standings are faring up. Kev Walker having a cracking season. 2 wins and 2 second places under his belt. Leads the way on 169 points. Renato Ribeiro is second on 165 points. Yannick Shaper third for 161. Then the first of the 2 Canties, the younger this time, Jordan sitting fourth, 143 points. Old man Canty fifth, 118. He's not racing tonight, nor is Damon Douglas. And then in seventh, we've got 99 points, Mikey Ball. And our man in Amsterdam, Frankie, in 8th overall on 96 points. Good evening, Mr. Murray. How are you, mates? Not spoke to you for a while, Liam, mate. Hope you are good. So, we've got 5 minutes left in practice. So let's bring you up to speed with what we've got going on here at GRDC this week. Tomorrow night is our LMGT3 Championship Round 7 from Spa. I'll be streaming my race POV of that tomorrow night from 8:15. Tuesday night I'll be streaming race POV as well. The Dasgo Sim Racing race on Tuesday night. Can't remember where we are off the top of my head. I need to check. But on Wednesday we've got our dynamic duo commentary pairing in the shape of Ben and Aero, who will be bringing you all the action from round 2 of our World Sprint Championship. What a round we had on last Wednesday, the opening round from Interlagos. A tight, twisty track. And it produced and delivered beautiful racing. It really was good overall. Of course, there was a couple of incidents that the stewards are looking at. In fact, the stewarding video will be going up on GRDC TV after this race finishes. But we're looking forward to round 2 on Wednesday. So don't forget to tune in for that. Ben and Aero with their screen action. So you'll be just watch the GT3 race as well as the hypercar race. And they will bring you all of the action. I'm good, mate. Thank you, Liam. Yes, very well. I am very good. Just over 3 minutes left on the clock in practice as we ride with Chrissy Wilson, who is our current Pro-Am Championship leader. So, as you are all aware now, the Luke Addison Racing Sunday Series will come to an end at the end of this season because we are not able to use Luke as a sponsor on SimGrid because we progressed up to a bronze partner. However, we will still have, I can confirm, we will still have an ACC Championship running on a Sunday night. So for you ACC fans and drivers, we will still be running championship. Dan, Paul and Errol are going to oversee the championship. So if you are wanting to race still, sign-ups will be done as normal via SimGrid. We just won't have the sponsorship. But we've got rounds 7, 8, 9 and 10 still to come in Series 3. And everything is to fight for. It's still very, very close in all 3 classes. Only the 20 cars on grid tonight. As I mentioned before, saw lots of people start to drop this series once they realise they've got nothing to fight for. Always the way, really. We always get a bit of a drop-off. But now we've got the contenders to battle it out. And there won't be other drivers stealing points off them. So 20 seconds left on the clock. And we will get ready for quali. As per normal, our very own GRDC Club Trustee, Dan Moffat, first out of the pits. And as you guys know by now, this is the hardest bit for me of the night, the qualifying, trying to bring you everybody as they cross the line on a valid lap. Will be a little bit easier tonight with a smaller field. So the questions we need the answers to tonight as this race unfolds. Richie Gasson's Nissan. It has got, with the LFM BOP, unbelievably, it's got minus 30 kg. Minus 30. Is that going to mean the Nissan is absolutely untouchable here? It is such a fast track. Can the likes of Dan Moffat, Paul Sims, Cookie, Cormac is quick as well, James Payton, Stevie Howes and Stevie Morgan. We know Steve's been quick all season long. Can they do anything tonight about the pace of that Nissan? Only time will tell, but let's jump on board with Dan as he negotiates that Ferrari through Maggots and Beckett's. It's quite a crap view from there, isn't it, really? In the Ferrari. You can't see out the bloody window because the sticker's in the way. Let's jump to bonnet cam. Down the Formula One straight. Oh, yeah, I saw you signed out, Ash. Shame you're not racing, bud. So we're going to get the first time on the board. Dan Moffat crosses the line with a 158.112. Richie Gasson goes second, 157.887. Cookies cross the line with 158.280. They'll come through too thick and fast for me to keep up. Raul is currently leading Pro-Am, pole for Pro-Am at the moment, 159.240. 96 was Paul Garnham. Crossed the line with 2 minutes, 0.545. Cormac Quinn, 158.492. So currently, Richie Gasson on pole in Pro. Stevie Morgan second with 58.060. Dan Moffat's third, 58.112. Cookie, 58.280. Paul Sims, 58.325. James Payton, 7th, 59.092. And then Stevie Howes in 8th, 59.105. Right, now we can start seeing if they're up or down on a lap. So Dan is almost 4/10 up as he heads down to the final couple of corners of the lap. Richie Gasson behind is half a second up almost on his already pole setting lap. So Dan rounds the last corner. Crosses the line. A 57.760. Richie Gasson 57.442. Steve Morgan crosses the line a 57.715. 49, I can't get there quick enough. 771 Raul. So that was Chrissy Wilson, number 49 that I missed. Is taken pole currently in Pro-Am, 58.577. Number 190. Cormac is 3 tenths up. Crossing line goes fourth with 58.190. Number 248 is James Payton. Is 7.5 tenths up in his AMG. Crosses line goes 7th with 58.347. Renato Ribeiro crosses the line, goes 4th in AM with 2 minutes point 202. Mikey Ball is not on a hot lap. Frank, I think he's on an out lap maybe. But Danny Moffat behind him is a 10.5 up, currently 3rd. Dan Moffat is nearly 3 tenths up. And I'll give you an eye on his time. But Paul Sims, not seen yet so far. Currently 6th with 58.325. Rounding the last corner is 4 tenths up. He's going to improve and goes 4th with 57.932. 969. I missed with Steve Howes. Goes 6th with 58.215. 771. Raul still 2nd. John Bunny Mitchell crosses the line. Goes 3rd in Pro-Am for 159.445. 28 just crossed the line. I can't for the life of me see the number on my timing tower. I have gone number blind. My arrows just crossed the line. 59.9. Oh, it goes sliding. Number 248. James Payton is not currently up. 159. Where are you? Renato Ribeiro across the line, goes 2nd in AM 159.595. Missed Kev Walker so far. He's currently the pole sitting in AM with a 159.537. Number 78. Where's number 78 gone? Richie Gasson. He's currently doing exactly the same time as he did before. Paul Sims is not currently up. Cookie basically doing the same time as he did before. Richie Gasson. Number 24. John Bunny Mitchell's not up. Number 78 down there. Whoa. That is Rich. He's not up. Was very slightly improved to a 57.435. Paul Sims still did the same time. 969. Steve Howes didn't improve. 96. Paul Garnham is not on a hot lap. Number 24. John Bunny Mitchell's not on a hot lap. Who else is coming down the back straight there? 248. James Payton is not up at the moment. 4.5 minutes left on the clock. Mikey Ball is up. Currently over a second up on his previous time of 2 minutes point 3 58.122. Let's jump on board with that screaming McLaren with the Liverpool livery on it as he negotiates the last couple of corners. He's gaining time. He's now 1.3 seconds up on his previous best. This is going to be a great improvement. He's going to cross the line. Doesn't gain in places, but does improve. 202.070. Who is next on a hot lap? Number 24, John Bunny Mitchell. Oh, we missed Stevie Morgan crossing the line. He's taken pole for 157.397. He was showing blue disc on the map, but cracking lap from Steve and takes over pole. Who's behind him? Kev Walker. So Kev, we got Bunny in the Porsche there, and the red Ferrari behind him is Kev Walker, who is 4 tenths up and is our current AM pole sitter. Bunny Mitchell gaining loads of time in the last couple of corners, now half a second up. He's going to improve a lot here. Goes second in Pro-Am with 158.957. Kev Walker improves to 158.975. 28 was a hot lap that I missed. Just can't seem to see number 28 on my timing being at all. Let's go to Renato Ribeiro. No, he's not currently up. Who else is on a hot lap? Mikey Boys, but he is not up also. 158, Frank, our man in Amsterdam. He's currently 2.5 tenths up. Currently sitting 5th in AM, 18th overall. As he heads down to the last couple of corners. Still just over a tenth up. Just lost that tenth coming around the last couple of corners. Right, let's jump to Paul Garnham. He's the next one showing on a hot lap, currently 4th in Pro-Am. But this commentator's curse has started already, because as soon as I came to him, he lost his time. Dan Moffat is not currently up. James Payton is not currently up. Mikey Ball not currently up. Who's next on a hot lap? 190 is Cormac Quinn, who's also not currently up at the moment. 182 is the Cookmeister, currently 3.5 tenths up. Currently sitting 7th with 158.280. This is going to be the last chance saloon, as the time in qualifying has expired. We'll just keep an eye on that, but just jump. Oh no, it's behind him anyway. Let's jump back to Cookie. Sorry, Cookie. Just lost some time coming out of that tight sector. is going to improve. No, he's not. Take it back. No, it is. He gained a little bit of time coming out, so he's going to slightly improve or maybe do the same time. But Richie Gasson is a 10th and a half up, currently sitting second. He comes around the last corner. Oh, he just lost a little bit of time. Is he going to be able to nick it? I don't think he's going to have enough. He does. He nicks it. 1:57.350. Takes pole. Paul Sims is a fraction up on his previous time, so is going to improve in time but not position. Dan Moffat is half a second up. This is going to be a stonking time from Danny Moffat, and he takes pole at the death. 1:57.132. Take a bow, Danny Moffat. All right, as we just wait for the session to tick over, let me run you through our grid. You just saw that last dramatic lap from Danny Moffat. Takes pole. Richie Gasson second. Stevie Morgan third. Paul Sims fourth. Cormac Quinn fifth. Steve Howes sixth. Richard Cook seventh. James Payton 8th. Our pole sitter in Pro-Am is Chrissy Wilson, who is 9th overall. You've got Raul Pasta next to him on the grid, and John Bunny Mitchell wraps out the top 3 of the Pro-Ams. Paul Garner 4th, 13th overall. Our pole sitter in Am, Kev Walker, who has had an absolutely stonking season so far, and is our current AM Championship leader. Renato Ribeiro, second in AM, 14th overall. Yannick Shaper, third. Jordan Canty, fourth. And that wraps up a very exciting qualifying session. Right, the cars are lined up on the grid. Drivers making final preparations for the race. Just to give you a reminder of the race format, it's a 60-minute race. The guys have to pit for tyres. It's a mandatory tyre stop, but they are not allowed to refuel. Refueling is switched off. Now, is the Ferrari of Dan Moffat we saw put in an absolutely stonking qualifying lap and taking pole. Is he going to be able to keep that rapid Nissan behind him? Now, a couple of things to watch out for here right at the start. Ferrari Absolutely shocking off the line. Danny's going to have to brake boost that to have any chance of keeping that Ferrari in front as they come through turn 1. Because that Nissan, that Lambo, that McLaren, that BMW, that Mustang, and that AMG are all going to be quicker off the line than that Ferrari. He did a great job of putting it there. How is he going to be able to keep it there? Only time will tell. This is going to be an interesting battle. Oh, got to put the... Apologies. I did click it. Well, obviously didn't click it. I clicked next to it, obviously, and didn't take it off. Anyway, this is also going to be an interesting battle. We got Chrissy Wilson, Raul Pasta, John Bunny Mitchell, and right behind them is Paul Garnham. As we see, oh, James taking a little bit of a detour over the grass and taking one of the signs with him. That's going to be a really, really interesting battle. John Bunny Mitchell and Chrissy Wilson have been close all season long. So we shall see how that unfolds as well. Mr. Chabenko has joined us as well. Got in the server just in time by the looks of it. So we will see that Aston Martin working his way through the pack. Yes, it is lucky you're here. The battles will continue all through the grid. Kenneth Walker currently leading our AM Championship. On the road behind him, right behind him, is Ronaldo Ribeiro. They're going to be battling it out, scrapping for that AM lead. But right behind them, they've got young Mr. Shaper, young Mr. Canty, who have also, the pair of them, had a very, very good season so far as well. And I will try to bring you all of the action as it unfolds in all three classes. Track limits could potentially be an issue here. Coming out of turn 1 is such a bitch. If you run too wide there, it's so easy to pick up a track limit warning. Will drive-throughs be playing a major part in the race today? Pit stops. These guys are so close on time all through the field, not just the pros, but the pro-ams and the AMs. Nailing your pit stop is absolutely vital. We've seen it already this season. Races lost and won from how they handled their pit stop. We will stay with Helicam as the guys go 2 by 2, waiting for the lights to go green. Creeping towards the start-finish line. Green, green, green. We are racing here at Silverstone. This is the Luke Addison Racing Sunday Series 3. And this is round 7 from Silverstone. A couple of rubbings together on the door handles as they go through Maggots and Beckett's for the first time. Cookie and Cormac side by side. Cookie gets the advantage and comes through. Mr. Chibenko off to a flying start by the looks of it. But Richie Gasson is in the lead. Paul Sims closing in on... Oh, there's a little bit of door banging either side. Right. Just perhaps the touch of a gap forming. The Ferrari so strong under braking though. This is where Dan is going to need to make that count as they come through the tighter, the bendier part. Village, I believe, isn't it, that part? Paul Garnham is in the pits. What's happened there? Right, as the guys cross the line, the delta on the timing board will start to work so we can start to hone in on those battles. Steve Morgan in the Lambo. Oh, Dan is right in the slipstream of the Nissan as he looks to the inside. Rich just covers it off. These two starting to battle is going to bring that Lamborghini into play. Jordan and Mike battling it out. We see Mr. Shaper trying to set up a move on Renato Ribeiro. Not able to get it done this time round. Jabenko is on the march. Didn't do quali, turned up just in time to do the race. He's looking to try and get, he's already up to 12th, started at the back of the grid. Paul Garnham still in the pits, so I don't know what's happened to Paul. Paul Sims coming back in to the fold with the against the Lamborghini of Steve Morgan. As we said before, this part of the track that are coming into now is going to be the strongest part for the Ferrari. This is where we saw Dan close up last time around. Richie Gasson has stretched his lead to half a second. Can Dan do anything about it? As we see Cormac just getting a bit closer to Cookie. Raul putting some pressure onto Chrissy Wilson's Aston Martin. This is the battle for first and second in Pro-Am. Again, the same thing applies to this battle as we spoke about. This is going to be the strong part for that Ferrari of Raul. And the straighter parts is going to be the stronger part for Chrissy's Aston Martin. As we see just Chris just pulling away a little bit. As he opens it up down the straight. Chebenko is going to want to get past John Bunny Mitchell as soon as possible. But as we've seen all season long, John Bunny Mitchell has been getting better and better and better in that Porsche. Let's just jump back. It's Dan that tries to close that gap again. And not close enough yet. Renato Ribeiro starting to reel in. Pro-Am driver, our man in Amsterdam, Frank. He looks to the inside. Oh, he just drifted out a little bit. And Frank gets it all wrong, trying to return to the racing line and collides with Chris. Both of them losing momentum and places there. Mikey Ball now starting to apply the pressure to Frank. And looks like he's going to get the move done. A well-executed pass by our resident Liverpool fan. God, is he going to be annoying when they win the league this year. Anyway. Jordan, the younger of the two Canties, has caught up to the back of Renato Ribeiro from Renato's contact with Frank. He didn't quite get turn one right, and that has allowed Yannick Schaefer to get past, as we see Chebenko finally getting alongside Bunny's Porsche, gets the move done. It's not a battle for points though, that one, so Bunny won't mind letting him go. Checking with race leader because he's opened up. Point, about a second's lead over Dan Moffat. It's so difficult to overtake here. It's such a fast track with such fast corners that you really need to either be right on the rear bumper of the car that you're trying to overtake down the straight, or be really close into the section they're just coming out of here to try and sling it down the inside at one of the more hairpin style corners. So Kev Walker, our current AM race leader, our current AM championship leader, as the two McLarens going at it. Frank just about comes out on top and gets the move done. our smooth talking Finn. GRDC club trustee Aero Vishuri starting to make some headway in this race. Not a strong qualifying from Aero, but he's now starting to reel in the other Porsche driver in the shape of John Bunny Mitchell. He has got Kev Walker in front of him at the moment that he will need to get past. Let's jump back to the action at the front. The battle in Pro. Hold the line caller. If I can find my cursor. Oh, you know, it didn't put it off. But is he going to have another crack? I see that Delta dropping. As we see Aero trying to make a move. Porsche v Ferrari. This old, fierce rivalry between two great car manufacturers. The Porsche gets the advantage this time. Now, can Aero get a little bit of a gap in front of that Ferrari and start to reel in the other Porsche? Because that is the battle for points that Aero is going to be fighting for. Aero currently P4 in Pro-Am. The Ferrari of Dan Moffat is right back in the game and closing in hard on the Nissan. Just jumping back because Aero's not only caught up, he's now side by side with John Bunny Mitchell. This is the battle for P3 in Pro-Am. The two Porsches go side by side. Bunny just keeps it in front for the time being. Great driving, as we see week in, week out from our Pro-Am drivers. Yannick Shaper, sitting P3 in Am, is making a move on Ronaldo Ribeiro. This is the battle for P2. Oh, they were so close going into that corner. That will be one for the stewards to look at. Oh no, mate. Just making sure the software was working then for the contacts. We'll keep an eye on this battle, but I'm keeping one eye on the Delta of the Pro battle and the other eye on the Delta of Pro-Am. Oh, I didn't see what happened, Paul. We'll, of course, have a look at it in the stewarding. Lots of battles to keep an eye on here. Going to flick between them as they get really close. These three, Concertina in again. The pace is so similar. I feel it's going to be a case of first one who makes a mistake, first one to nail the pit stop the best. These three, they pulled a 2.5 second lead over P4, which is Paul Sims. But let's check in with Paul. Haven't seen too much of him this race already. Cookie is the first one of the pros to pit. I see Renato Ribeiro has pitted for in AM. I hope he didn't have too much damage from the contact. Chrissy Wilson, this is our leader in Pro-Am. Starting to reel in that Mercedes AMG P7 Pro driver James Payton. That screaming V10 Lamborghini trying to put lots of pressure onto that rear diffuser of that Ferrari. Let's check in with Cormac. Not seen Cormac too much since really the start of the race. Currently P5. Our man in Amsterdam is now in the pits, Frankie. Dan Moffat is now in the pits. So we need to keep an eye on when Richie Gasson and Steve Morgan pit. We saw an absolutely thundering pit stop from Steve Morgan at Suzuka, where he managed to gain 2 places. We're going to need to see some of that, I think, tonight to be able to just get that bit of advantage that is needed. So Kev Walker still leading AM. Jordan, the younger of the two, Ganti, is currently P2 in AM. Kev Walker's pulled out a nice 9.5 second lead over P2. Yannick Shaper, we saw him come together with Renato Ribeiro when they were battling for P3. We will see how, I think we'll see that battle start to unfold again once Yannick pits, because Renato pitted quite, or as soon as that happened. Kev Walker still breathing down the neck of Aero. Only half a second behind that Porsche. Is this Aero starting to reel in John Bunny Mitchell now? That time has come down again. It is 0.7 of a second splitting these two. And I think we're about to see battle unfold again. He's caught right up. Looks one way. Looks to the outside. Bunny covering off the inside. Keeps it in front for now. Mikey Ball is in the pits. Of course, any battling between the two Porsches is going to just play into Kev Walker's hands. Chris Wilson banging on the door to be a pro next season. Currently leading our Pro-Am race and breathing down the neck of pro driver James Payton in the AMG. Aero again reeling in Bunny's Porsche in front of him. Our current race leader, Richie Gasson, has got the fastest lap of the race. It is a 1:58.520. So Cookie and Dan are the only pros to have pitted at the moment. Aero not close enough this time round to try and make it move as Bunny just runs wide, starts to understeer out. That is just what Aero needed to close that gap up once more, but just backs out, thinks better of it, and then sending it down the inside into that tight left-hander. Bunny just pulls away a little bit of a gap and breathes a sigh of relief once more. Stevie Howes, we've not seen Steve tonight already. Hold on, we'll come back to you, Steve, because Cookie is shaping up a move on the AMG of young Ryan Strebel. Gets the move done. All right, let's jump back to Steve because we haven't seen him tonight. Stevie Howes, top man Steve, is reeling in and is putting all the pressure onto Cormac Quinn in front of him now. BMW versus McLaren, Pro versus Pro. This is the battle for P4. Looks like James Payton is reeling Stevie Howes in as well. You can hear the thunder of that AMG. Under a second behind Steve. Right, Chebenko is now in the pits as well. Yep, good spot. Dan Moffat has just stolen the fastest lap of the race. 1:58.230. So we're back with soon-to-be pro driver Chris Wilson, giving those pro drivers in front of him lots of grief as he powers that Aston Martin out of the middle complex here at Silverstone. As you can see, Stevie Howes is also all over the back of that BMW of Cormac Quinn. Cormac shoots off into the pits. Richie Gasson is in the pits. We need to keep an eye on... Oh, Chrissy Wilson's also in the pits. That's why it's going mad. Right. Where is Dan going to be when Richie Gasson comes out of the pits? Paul Sims is also in the pits as well. Dan Moffat. Let's be factual about this. For the first time this season, has nailed his pit stop. And he has got in front of Richie Gasson. The undercut worked for Dan. Yannick Shaper and Roger Strebel are in the pits now as well. We've got 32.5 minutes left on the clock. We ride Val Smooth talking Finn. James Payton is now also in the pits as well. So we need to keep an eye out for when Steve Morgan is in the pits. And he's been very strong with his pit stops this season. If you recall the race at Imola, the two Porsches of John Bunny Mitchell and Eero Vashiri had a race-long battle. Will this be the same? How will them two fare when they come out of the pits? Kicking up a bit of dust. Eero looks to the inside. Give each other space. Steve Morgan is in the pits. Steve Morgan is in the pits. Real Pasta is in the pits. The two Porsches are in the pits. What a time for the pair of them to go in. That is probably tactical. Right. Where is Dan Moffat? Dan is coming around the last corner. Steve is stationary. Dan is about to cross the start-finish line. Steve is stationary. Dan Moffat is going to stretch. his legs and that lead as he goes down to Magnussen Beckett. Steve Morgan has come out behind Richie Gasson. 4.5 seconds behind Richie Gasson. Let's check on the two Porsches that went into the pits together. It looks... it's about just under a 3-second gap between them two now. We'll keep an eye on that to see if Aero can reel John Bunny Mitchell in again. James Payton has jumped Cormac Quinn in the pits, which is going to be music to James Payton's ears. Can he open that thundering AMG up and stretch that gap to the BMW behind? And this is just what James Payton wants to see in his mirrors. The Aston Martin of Chrissy Wilson puts in lots and lots of pressure and filling those mirrors of that BMW up. Steve Howes is in the pits. Jordan Canty is in the pits. Kev Walker is in the pits. I'm assuming it's just where Jordan's box is in the pit lane. Yeah, I was going to say, because he's currently showing ahead of Kev Walker, but Kev gets away quicker. Steve Howes has come out of the pits right into this battle. But the BMW looks to the inside of the AMG. Can he get the move? Not run wide as we see Chrissy Wilson doing some Tokyo drifting in the background. BMW of Cormac Quinn moves back up to 6th place. Just checking with our race leader. Well, they've both got purple. They've both done exactly the same lap time. Dan Moffat, Rich Gasson, 1:57.970. But Richie Gasson goes even faster, 1:57.745. He's going to need to keep doing that. He's going to need to keep chipping away at this 1.1 second lead that Dan Moffat has at the moment. There is 25 minutes left on the clock. Steve Howes now getting involved in the action. Flame spitting out the back of the McLaren as he changes down gear. Renato Ribeiro trying to recover from the coming together with our man in Amsterdam. Now reeling in Mikey Ball. Richie Gasson keeps chipping away at that gap. Is now half a second. So we ride on the bonnet of the Nissan coming through and out of Maggots and Beckett's. This straight line speed of the Nissan. We'll keep an eye on that. Keep an eye on this battle also. Steve getting a great exit. And he's now right in the slipstream of James Payton's AMG, but just not going to be quick enough and close enough to send it down the inside. Chrissy Wilson wants to get in on the action as well, wants to disrupt the pros in front of him and show them who's boss, because he will be wearing a white number badge next season. Our current Pro-Am race leader, Pro-Am championship leader, Chrissy Wilson. Jump back to this battle with the front as Richie Gasson is really starting to put the pressure on to the Ferrari. There's 21.5 minutes left on the clock. But so difficult to pass here. Steve Howes looking down the inside, and that nearly ended in tears as we now see Chrissy Wilson gonna send it 3 wide. You have to ask yourself, why? Well, the carnage that unfolded has allowed for Chebenko to now get up and start battling away for points. Stevie Howes is in the pits, tumbled down the grid. Raul Pasta took a huge impact on the front of that Ferrari. I'm sure he will be. I'm sure he will be. But at every track, there's always one place on the track where you don't want to be 3 wide. And to be fair, that's a bit on the track where you don't want to be too wide. But what that's done, that has given Raul the race, Pro-Am race lead. Took a lot of damage to the front of that Ferrari as well. It's going to be difficult, I would imagine, to keep that front end in check for the remaining 18 minutes and 30 seconds left. I will absolutely be watching Chrissy's stream after this. That's most corners for you. Well, 3 wide is... 3 wide rarely ends up well, as we see Richie Gasson trying to go round the outside. Not quite able to make it stick. As Rich again in the slipstream of Dan's Ferrari as they go round turn 1, both keeping it nice, good exits, not running too wide, not risking. Just Kev Walker gets the move done on aero. Just had to open the window of my sim room because it's like a fucking sauna in here now. Didn't realise it was closed. Thought I was getting hot. Rich still trying to chip away and get the move and take maximum points from round 7. Erovazuri is, after losing position to our AM race leader, Kev Walker, is trying to chip away at that and make a move. So with just under 16 minutes left on the clock, Rich trying to look for a similar move. Dan runs a little bit deep. Rich goes to the inside, but now Dan has the inside. They're going side by side. This is the battle for P1. Dan just gets the better exit, perhaps. They're going to go side by side. Rich just backs off. Probably the wise idea, so he doesn't run wide on the exit and risk getting that track cut. What a battle we've got here. So this is the battle for P1. But look who is starting to reel these two guys in. Them two battling is just what Steve Morgan wants to see, because it gives him the opportunity to reel these guys in. That gap behind is down to 1.3 seconds. Is this 2-man battle going to end up a 3-way battle in the last 14.5 minutes of round 7? The pros really showing how to do it this week. We'll keep an eye on that, but we also need to keep an eye on this as James Payton gets the move done on Raul Pasta. Not a battle for points, but the position on track. Ormac starting to reel in Cookie. P4 as well. I'll keep an eye on the Delta for that. But I don't want to move away from this battle unless I have to. The gap to the Lamborghini behind is now under a second. Are we going to have a three-way for the last 12 and a bit minutes of round 7? Who is going to come out with maximum points? Whoever it is, it will be fully deserved and hard fought. Keep an eye on that, but Aero also reeling in. Kev Walker not close enough to make a move. Back to the action at the front. I say that as Aero now side by side and takes the position back that he lost earlier on to our AM race leader and our AM championship leader. Yep, Stevie Morgan has taken the fastest lap of the race, and it's quite a bit faster as well. 157.487. 0.3 faster than Richie Gasson's lap before it. Now we got exactly the same gap between Dan and Rich and Steve. It is three-way time, ladies and gentlemen. 11.5 minutes left on the clock. 11.5 minutes for one of these guys to make their move. Is it going to come down to a mistake? We saw a fantastic lap pit stop from Dan, which he'll be pleased about after having some little hiccups already. But Steve Morgan is now putting loads of pressure onto the back of Richie Gasson. Is this going to play into Dan's hands if these two start battling behind? Will Dan just be able to open up enough of a gap, a bit of a comfort barrier? We've got Ferrari v Nissan v Lamborghini. The battle for maximum points. It's all getting a little bit close here. That Lamborghini is right on the rear bumper of that Nissan. But look just how close that Nissan is to the Ferrari as well now. Look, Steve's so late on the brakes there. Gains a lot of time under the braking. Can he did get the exit as well. That's great corner from Stevie Morgan. So late on the brakes compared to the two cars in front of him. Let's get the best seat in the house. Right on the bonnet of this screaming V10 Lamborghini. As we see all three cars going through Magnussen Beckett's. That was not a great Corner from Danny. Look, I thought he was going to get that all wrong. Did Rich have to lift there? We need to also keep an eye on this because Cormac is reeling in Cookie for P5. Chebenko in the Aston Martin looks to be closing in on Cormac as well. He's under a second. That's going to turn into a three-way battle as well. If you haven't smashed that like button yet, how could you not have done when the racing has been this good? Smash that like button, smash that subscribe button. If you're over on Twitch, don't forget to give us a follow. If you haven't joined the GRDC Discord yet, what the hell have you been doing? I ask, what have you been doing? Look at these guys as well, battling for 5th, 6th and 7th. Mustang versus Ford Mustang versus BMW versus Aston Martin. We'll be keeping a very, very close eye on these deltas and going to the closest ones. As we see, the BMW perhaps just got that bit wrong, but allows Chebenko to dive down the inside, and he just gives the little kiss as well on the rear end of that BMW. All the action here in the pros tonight, showing us how to do it. Look how close that Lamborghini is once again as they came out of the Maggots and Beckett's corners. But that Nissan is so fucking straight, quick in a straight line. Jeez, pulling away in the slipstream. Chebenko now right on the rear bumper of Cookie's Mustang. Don't forget, Chebenko started at the back of the grid as he did not qualify. He's now up to 6th and into really good point scoring territory. And he's right in the slipstream of the Mustang. He's going to look to the inside. Not close enough. Yeah, but that three-way battle is now going to become a four-way battle because this battling has allowed James Payton in the AMG to get in on the action as well. We've got just under 6 minutes left on the clock. Cookie just catching a bit of curb, getting a bit of a squiggle on the exit. Chebenko forcing Cookie just to take a slightly narrower line. Is that going to impede him on the way out? James Payton, don't know where to look. Oh, he just gives Cookie a kiss. Oh, Cookie spins it on, spins up the tyres on the exit. Raul Pasta now getting on the action, bringing it to the pros. More stuff for the stewards to look at. More stuff for the stewards to investigate. Cookie has dropped down to 10th with Raul Pasta and Chrissy Wilson both getting past when he spun the wheels up and went around doing donuts on the grass. I would imagine Cookie is cursing. Cookie's in the pits. Cookie is in the pits, tumbling down the order. does mean Chebenko's moved up to 5th. Stewards will obviously be looking at that, and Cookie has DNF'd and left the race. I'd imagine not a happy bunny at all. Three and a half minutes left on the clock. Fireworks we've had in the last couple of minutes here in round 7. Hard racing. Perhaps spilling over just a little bit. Steve Morgan now breathing down the neck of that Nissan once again. Chrissy Wilson has just got past Rayo. I missed the move. Apologies, Chris. You had a flat before you got railed. Oh, mate. That's so frustrating. We saw it all here, mate. Ah, so annoying. So, 2 minutes left on the clock. Dan got a very, very small half a second lead over Richie Gasson. Steve Morgan breathing down Richie's neck. This is the last lap of the race. This is the last lap of race 7. The pro drivers bringing all of the action tonight. So go through Maggotts and Beckett's for the last time. Half a lap to go. And this battle for P3 is playing into Dan's hands. He's now got a 1 over a second guy just come. It's hard to tell really sometimes. It's about a second gap. But that is just the comfort blanket that he needs. We'll keep an eye on the Delta, of course, but let's not go to that camera because it doesn't show you anything. Jump on board with Danny Moffat. Went into the pits. P2 came out ahead of Richie Gasson. He's going to come round the last corner. He just needs to keep this nice and tight. Don't kick up any dirt on the exit. After a stonking pole lap, take a bow. Danny Moffat brings it home. P1. Richie Gasson, P2. Steve Morgan, fault hard, P3. Paul Sims is going to bring it home in P4. Chebenko is currently P5. I mean, he started at the back of the grid. Yes, the stewards will be looking into the incident with Cookie, but whatever the outcome of that, you've got to give this man a round of applause. P5. P6 is Cormac Quinn. P7 is James Payton. Chrissy Wilson brings it home for P1 in Pro-Am. Real Pasta P2. John Bunny Mitchell is rounding the last corner and again is going to take third tier on the podium. P3 for John Bunny Mitchell. Aero Vishuri has had a scrap all race long with our current AM race winner, Kev Walker. Jordan Canty is going to be P2 in AM. Renato Ribeiro. A rough race for Renato. P3, I think. Frankie and Yannick Shaper round up the rest of the grid. Well, I don't know about you, but I could do with a drink. That was bloody good content. All round. Fantastic. Congratulations to our race winners and our podium finishers. Lots for the stewards to look at on Tuesday. I will be back streaming my race POV of our GRDC LMGT3 challenge tomorrow. Ben and Aero will be back on Wednesday with round 2 of our World Sprint Championship. That will be really, really good. Catch you later, guys. Don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe, join the